Nismo M ST. When you saw those badges, you knew the car was fast. But if you buy one today, you might be getting ripped off. Today, I'm gonna break down which badges are worth it and which ones are worthless vanity tags. When this video is over, you'll be able to spot a true performance badge and frauds. Big thank you to Honey for sponsoring this episode. Honey is the free browser extension that automatically finds and applies online coupons for you. It's great for when you're shopping on your favorite sites like Target, Best Buy, or TireRack.com, and you remember that you didn't get your friend Joe a Christmas present. Happens all the time. No problem, just hop on Tire Rack and get him a custom Bilstein coilover setup for his E46 and drop it in your cart and click Apply Coupons and claim those rewards discounts, my king. Joe's gonna be so stoked. Honey works on over 30,000 online stores and it's free and easy to install, so there's really no reason you shouldn't have it. Plus, Honey has already saved Donut Media fans like yourselves over $170,000 in savings. Head on over joinhoney.com/wheelhouse and install it today. I have it on all my browsers, so I'm saving that freaking money. I need it. 2020 goals, trying to save money, trying to make money, trying to diversify my bonds. You know what I'm saying? Before I get into the state of badges today, you need to understand why these badges are so cool and mean so much in car culture. Certain manufacturers have always been known as performance brands. You got Aston Martin, Ferrari, McLaren. They all began as racing brands, which then transitioned into makers of bespoke, low-volume road cars. And as such, will always be known for producing cars which focus almost entirely on speed and performance. But larger manufacturers out there roll millions of cars off their production lines each year, from tiny hatchbacks to huge SUVs. These cars have a focus on functionality, fuel economy, and safety. However, these mass manufacturers carve themselves out a little slice of performance by pitching performance versions of everyday cars. Typically, performance badges have one of two origins. The first is as the racing arm of an automotive manufacturer, such as BMW's M, formerly known as BMW Motorsport. They ended up producing the legendary BMW 3.0 CSL, or Batmobile. This homologation special, wherein a manufacturer is mandated to produce a certain number of road-going versions of cars they wish to race, is how we got some of our most cherished road cars today. Following that, BMW Motorsport got to work producing their first ground-up car and the first full M car, the aptly named BMW M1. This again was a low-volume homologation special. All 456 road cars became incredibly desirable and sold out instantly, which gave BMW the idea to start applying their newly formed M badge to consumer cars, the first of which was the 1979 M535i version of the E12 5 Series. It featured a whole host of components taken from BMW Motorsport's stock of racing parts, even sharing a few pieces with the M1. It was so different from the regular 5 Series in almost every aspect, and really highlights the performance badge idea of developing a hot, fast version of a standard road car using technology from racing. From then on, practically every BMW car and generation would have an M version, most notably the M3 and the M5. Love that E39. With the exception of low-volume hand-built cars such as McLaren and Ferrari, who we mentioned earlier, performance badges used to be the most exclusive cars on the road, sometimes even more so. Performance badge cars were made in limited numbers and available only to those whom performance was the main reason to buy a car and had the money to do so. Around the turn of the century, though, this all began to change. Other brands had caught up to BMW and started building badged cars of their own. And unfortunately, the marketing departments of these massive manufacturers began to see the potential in badging other cars as performance badges, even though they weren't the top performing versions of those cars. So, I think it's time to ask, which badges are good and which ones are bad? Let's start with the biggest offenders and make our way to the ones that still mean something. We trashed on them last week, so I think it's only right that we start with Nissan's Nismo. Formed in 1984 when Nissan merged two of their motorsport departments, Nismo went on to develop legends such as the R31 Skyline GTS R, the 370Z, and of course the Nissan GTR Nismo. Nowadays though, the Nismo badge is also on the back of the Juke small SUV, the Sentra, and the European-only Pulsar. The Nismo Sentra doesn't make any more power than the Sentra SER Turbo, but does come with some slightly better all-weather tires and larger brake rotors. It also has lowered suspension. Unfortunately, this doesn't make the Nismo Sentra any better than the competition, according to Car and Driver, but I will give it props for coming with the manual transmission, and honestly, I think the Sentra Nismo looks pretty good. Back to BMW. BMW currently produces 8 full M cars. However, they produce an incredible 20 M Performance cars, most of which have very little in the way of a performance increase, focusing instead on trim levels and M-like design features. The M Performance line was created to fill the gap between base BMWs and the increasingly expensive M cars, and you can identify them by the smaller M badge preceding the model number. They've got upgraded lower suspension, sports steering wheel and shifter, and usually some sporty looking trim, but the horsepower ratings typically don't get a huge boost. I mean, does the X2 really need an M Performance edition? Who's buying a little mini crossover and saying, man, I wish this thing had a sportier steering wheel? It just really waters down the M brand, if you ask me. Audi, who we haven't talked about much, is also guilty of this. Building upon the rally and road successes of the Audi Quattro, in 1983 they founded Quattro GmbH, a department responsible for all Audi sports car production. Then they continued to develop amazing race and road cars through the turn of the century. Today though, Audi applies the Quattro and S names to many of its fairly regular road cars, from crossovers to hatchbacks and SUVs, none of which share in Audi's performance heritage, past or present. Audi's S-line cars are borrowing more and more accessories and styling cues from the performance-oriented S, RS, and R cars, yet in terms of specifications, they are no different to the base-level SE cars, so that's a little egregious to me. Another main way performance brands tend to materialize is as independent tuning shops who over time develop a relationship with a specific manufacturer before usually being bought out and brought in-house. This is true of German marque AMG, which was founded in 1967 as an engine tuning shop by some former Mercedes employees and worked successfully with Mercedes for years before being bought out and brought into the Daimler Mercedes group in 1999. While full AMG cars are fitted with hand-built AMG engines and feature ground-up suspension and handling redesigns, the AMG line Mercedes, of which there are frankly way too many to count, offers some AMG styling and a few token suspension and braking upgrades, some as minimal as painted brake calipers. Huge effort is spent fitting AMG line floor mats, shiny silver sports pedals, carbon fiber effect trim, and our friend, the sports-tuned exhaust. For example, the cheapest way into true AMG ownership is to buy the A45 AMG S. Thanks to its AMG tuning, it is the fastest A Class by a huge margin and has been referred to by many as a super hatch thanks to its 415 horsepower. 415 horsepower in a hatch? What? 0 to 60 in 3.9 seconds. That's faster than a new 911 Carrera. Compare that though to the AMG line A Class, which at a cost of $2,000 over the standard SE A Class gets you 18-inch AMG alloys, AMG side still panels, a diamond grille. It essentially has the same internals as the standard A Class, same top speed, same 0 to 60, same everything. It has all the looks of the performance models with none of the additional performance. Do you see what I mean here? I don't like this. Ford's interesting. Ford Performance puts their ST badge, which is a little bit lesser to their all-out RS brand, on the Fiesta and Focus, as well as producing special performance badge versions of the Mustang and F-150, namely the Shelby and Raptor. I'm gonna say that in my opinion, almost all these cars are great, particularly the Fiesta and Focus ST. Love those freaking things. However, I do think that Ford compromised the ST badge as soon as they made an ST spec of their compact SUV, the Edge. I've driven the Edge ST, and while it is pretty quick, I mean, I don't know. It feels nothing like a traditional ST car, which is a shame. Ford have since put out the Explorer ST, which I think indicates their intentions for the ST badge in the future. Also, anecdotally, I think I've only ever seen one Edge ST on the street, so I think it was all for nothing sales-wise. With ST, the highs are really high, and the lows are kind of low. In In 2009, after what felt like an eternity of speculation, Toyota announced the return of the Supra, 3-liter engine, 340 horsepower, and a silhouette to make a grown man weep. It's beautiful. This is the resurrection of the Supra brand and also the crowning achievement in the reinvigoration of the GR or Gazoo Racing performance badge. That's right, it's called Gazoo. Toyota have come in hot for 2019 with a brand new performance badge car delivering actual performance. I rode in a Supra GR at an autocross and that thing freaking ripped. Also in 2018, they won both their first World Rally Championship and their first outright 24-hour of Le Mans victory, all of which helped them in honing their performance badge road cars. All good signs for the future of Toyota and GR. Go Gazoo, baby. Hyundai have also got in on the performance badge thing, launching their own N brand performance, headed up by none other than former of BMW M and the father of M cars, Albert Biermann. With their born in Namyang, honed on the Nürburgring ethos, Hyundai M have produced a series of seriously good performance cars since the formation in 2015, jointly developing with their motorsport arm, who in 2019 won their first ever World Rally Championship. Good job, guys, which I think proves that the N badge is good. They are gonna make some N-line cars this year, so we'll see. We'll see, Hyundai, I'm watching you. Last up is the badge that was least diluted by the manufacturer, Honda's Type R. It's kind of a cop-out right now because there's only one car with the Type R badge, the Civic Type R. But if you look through the badge's history, you'll see a ton of great cars that were truly meant to perform. The DC2 Integra Type R is a dream car of mine. I must own one. These badges mean a lot to nerds like me. It's my opinion that manufacturers should not trade their heritage for a boost in sales like some of these brands on this list are in the process of doing. If they're not careful, people might forget what these badges stood for in the first place. Follow me on Instagram and Twitter at Nolan J. Sykes. Follow Donut at Donut Media. We got cool shows coming out this year. We say that every year, but I mean it. Be kind. See you next time. Christmas break was great. Relaxed. That thing freaking rips. That thing freaking rips. Love it.